This was like hugely life-changing and transformational, and please take it out in the world with you, because this is how we can create the snowball effect, and this is how we can make a difference in our lives and in our children's lives and in the whole community. It blows my mind that this is not in schools. Do we have any educators or frontline people in the room? Yes, please take this to them. So this is the notion that life happens through me, not to me, which is the reference of above or below the line. So when we are living above the line, we are taking accountability and responsibility for our triggers, our emotions, our stuff. Yeah, shit things happen to us, but we're adults now, and like no one else is gonna fix this for us. We've gotta, we've gotta take the bull by the horns and take responsibility and accountability for what's happening in our world now. We know that the world is happening through us and not to us, so we don't use language like, you made me angry. Yeah, nobody makes you anything. We are choosing our world, we are choosing what's happening to us. And if you believe in the higher stuff and the spiritual stuff, that's a whole other thing as well, where our energy, the energy that we're putting out, like creates the where energy goes, energy flows. So when we're living above the line, we're taking accountability and responsibility. We know that we are part of the system. We're not disconnected from the system. We are in the matrix. We're all part of the system. One breath that we take can create all this movement in a room. One step this way can create a wave of things in a room of people. So we know we're also connected and part of the system. And so when we come from an above the line place, we go, okay, what do I have control of right here in this situation? What can I do to come from a place of responsibility and accountability? So when we're living below the line, we're doing things like justifying, blaming, pointing the finger. You made me angry. Denying. I had nothing to do with that. That wasn't my fault. It was all their fault. And quitting, throwing their hands up and going, I'm done, I'm out. So this is below the line behaviour. So notice in your life when you do these things and when the people around you do these things. And when I first learnt this, I wrote JBDQ on my hand, and I would just walk around all day and go, am I doing any one of these right now? And just remind myself. Justifying, blaming, denying and quitting. And justifying is where excuse land lives as well. And so as I go through these, just notice in your own body and your own awareness, which one makes you go like this the most. That's the one you know you do the most. So circle that one and just do that one for a week. Just notice, when am I making excuses? Pardon?
What's the
D, deny. Deny. I had nothing to do with this, wasn't my fault, it's all your fault. It was all you. Pardon?
It's all about our own bodies.
You can notice it about you and others. So we'll do it and others will do it. So notice when people are making excuses or when you make an excuse for something. It's about both. That's a different scenario. When abuse is happening, leaving the scenario is an empowered action. That's not quitting. Yeah. Yeah, it does have a flow-on effect. When you start living above the line, when I stop making excuses for myself and I talk in that language, it just has a flow-on effect on people around me. These beautiful women in the room at the back are in my life because they don't live like that. And we hold each other accountable when we talk like that. So this is the thing, there's a few pieces to the puzzle here, right? We've got to first disconnect ourselves from our trauma, the labels, all of that stuff. Work with our physical, emotional response, not label emotions bad, and then we've got to live above the line, and then we've got to deal with our unhealed trauma responses, which one of them is people pleasing, could be people pleasing, perfectionism, all these things, which is something we'll go through. But I would just choose one of these things. Making excuses is the easiest one. We all do this, right? You can start with that and just notice in your awareness when you make excuses and when other people in your life make excuses. Hold yourself accountable, reframe yourself. Instead of that excuse, what would you say instead? How can you own it? And the simple, easiest one is when you say to people, you made me angry. Instead, you say, I feel angry. And I feel angry because I saw you raise your voice. You have to give the evidence, not making it up, Yeah, so start to look around in your world when you're doing these things and when others are doing it, hold them accountable too. Don't let them put their stuff onto you. Don't let them put the guilt onto you. Yeah, just no, that's yours. People can get very triggered when you start to do this with them, so you have to be very artful when you do this. Don't just say, oh, you're just making excuses. Be gentle and kind, and you start to ease people into this way of thinking. But that's why I want the educators to get it out there. Yeah, humour can be a really good way to get in there.
Yeah.
If you hear someone making an excuse, oh, are you really going to go there? Are you really going to let that stop you? Is that the excuse you're going to use? Come on, you can do better than that. Give me something better than that. You can kind of use that too. But you've got to read the person in front of you as well. And yeah, just maybe, the people that are closest to you, teach them this and be like, so I'm going to start to practice this, and they'll be okay with you practicing on them. But I'm quite direct and abrupt in my approach, and that can sometimes go well and sometimes not so well. But I do find it really hard to, when I see all this stuff going on in someone, to just say kindly. I just go, well, this is an excuse. I just kind of lay it out. But this is why it's one of the first things I teach, and that anyone that comes to me needs to know this before we spend time together, and be okay with me calling them out on this stuff. Is everyone okay with me calling you out on this today? I didn't see any hands. Okay, good. It's a lot to take in, so I think now's a good time for a break.